Here on Treaty 7 territory, nestled in the Rocky Mountains with the mighty Bow River at an altitude of 1,309 meters. Born from coal dust in 1884 and ever-changing, this is Canmore, and we are Canmorites, and this is the Canmorite Podcast. Let's go. Hey there, it's me, Jeff Maher from the Canmorite Podcast. We are now on episode 25. This is a special one because with me, as we get close to the eve of the election, we have
Councillor Joanna McCallum
Councillor Joanna
for 2 more
McCallum.
days.
2 more days. The legend is here. Joanna, how are you doing?
I'm all right. All right. It's been interesting to watch you all campaign over the last really solidly 4 weeks. Longer than that. You always can tell when silly season happens around the dais. It starts. It's
Absolutely.
inevitable. It's
Yeah.
inevitable.
Yeah, like I
I've been
just
victim to
yeah, you
myself.
oh,
I've done it too.
yeah, because how many terms have you done?
This is my fourth and final term as a town councillor in Canmore.
Yeah, and it must just feel lovely not
Yeah.
to have the campaign anymore. Um, yeah, like so. Speaking of
There's
campaigning,
yes.
I just came out of like just like one more
Yes.
session at Bow Valley Regional Housing,
Oh, I love that place. They
and
had lunch for
it's
me there yesterday. It was really
they love you
nice.
there. They love you there,
Yeah, I know.
and
I
I was
love
there,
them.
and I was with
Mm,
Councillor Graham, and I was also with. I thought this was really cool to see because I think when you campaign for your first time, it's kind of a gutsy, scary thing. Javon was out there too.
Siobhan, was he there?
He was so there,
That's
and he was great.
amazing. Yep.
Yeah.
He is a fantastic candidate. I am so proud to see how he's been moving along. He is hustling, knocking doors, having conversations with people. But even before this, he's been everywhere. I feel like I don't know a time that I've been a counselor without Javon. I know there was 5 years, but
hmm
it just seems like he's always been part of the fabric
Yeah, like
of both Canmore and Banff.
yeah, and personally, I find his story like super interesting because he is
Mm.
first generation Canadian. So he actually
Yep.
immigrated here, and
Yep.
then just seeing his command of like being in the community, how he cares, and seeing him talking to like these older folks,
Mm,
and like they're like, "Who are you? You don't look like me." Like this is like an older white man or like an
yeah.
older white woman. He just gets in there and he's able to be relatable with these folks in a very short amount of time. I
Yeah.
thought that's a bit of a
Yeah.
skill. So.
He's got a big heart and big brains, and I hope he goes far this election.
Totally. Well, let's dive
Yeah.
back in towards that later on. So,
Yeah.
Joanna, like, I know, like, we have people who are trying to become counselors for the first time, and
Hmm.
you've done this for 4 terms. Tell us about the origin story. What started this whole mission back in the day?
Oh. I come from some sort of political gene. I came from Hamilton. I
hmm
was involved in municipal and federal and provincial politics there. I came to Alberta when
hmm
in 1999, came to Canmore, and got involved. In 2003, volunteered with the town of Canmore on the Community Services Advisory Committee, and then on the Vision Keepers group, which was sort of the impetus towards at that time, the MDP.
hmm
And then decided to run in 2010. I had two
Wow.
kids. Uh, Two kids. I had a 18-month-old and a 4-year-old strapped to me, and we knocked doors, and I got elected with me and six older gentlemen. And that was how it started. And I was exhausted. Like,
Whew.
I know how hard it is. I lost 4 dress sizes. Honest to God, I went to go try on something to wear for the swearing in, and
Yeah.
I worn through a pair of shoes. I was going.
Yeah.
So yeah, I know how it feels. It's a little bit, I don't want to say easier, but it feels a bit more natural the second time when you do your second term, right? You kind of
hmm
know what's going on.
Yeah.
So, but it's like a cadence, when you guys hit work to week 2, I'm like, oh, here we go. I could feel it and I could see it in you guys. Like, okay, all the forums and everything else. It's so demanding. And we have
Yeah.
so many forums in Canmore
Lots
compared to
of
other
forums.
places.
Well, yeah, and I think this year, like, the last time I ran was like back in like the middle of COVID, and it was a very different
Right.
landscape.
Yes.
The signage was different.
Weird.
You could just like pepper the town with signs.
Yeah.
This year, because signs, we're more on private property. Every single sign that's actually on someone's lawn, that's a testament.
Yep.
Like
Yep.
it.
You own your vote,
You own your
definitely.
vote,
And
right?
yeah, I think it's great. I have 6 signs at my house.
Yeah, the deck of
Um,
democracy.
yeah, deck of democracy right now.
Yeah.
And I'm happy to support all those folks. But yeah, it's different. And then what was different also is the mail strike. So you couldn't
Yeah.
get your material out in the mail,
Hmm.
which is can be a real game changer because if you've spent a lot of money putting into the design and printing that material,
Hmm.
only to realize that it's going to be difficult to get it all out door to door.
Yeah, because I
Just
know, yeah, like
I feel like
council.
the sheer number of
Yeah.
forums get in the way of the ability for people to go out and meet people, to be honest. But
Yeah, it's high
that's a different
density.
discussion.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like Councillor Hillstad, for example, like he got a whole ton of mailers, and him and his wife
Oh
have been like
no.
hustling and
Yep.
putting them on the doors. And I know Jeff Hillstad is on your deck of democracy. Like
Yeah.
Karen Mara, same thing. She's like, I had
Yeah.
all these mailers, and I'm running around trying to
Oh
get them
yeah.
out
I saw
there.
her out.
Yeah, and then Sean, likewise, he's been like working really hard to like get reelected as mayor.
Yep.
Um, Councillor Graham, same thing. He's not doing the mailers so much, but like the signage piece, he's like doing lots of conversations there. I know him and I were down at the
He
market.
prefers the abuse of social media.
It's his superpower.
That's
Yeah. And
yeah.
yeah.
So yeah, and it's been interesting to just watch everybody and how questions that are being asked on social media, and I'm glad I'm getting to observe this time.
Yeah. Well,
Hmm.
let's come back to the campaign stuff. We get a little bit of
Yeah.
segue. So during your 4 terms, like man, I when I think back to like when I see pictures in council chambers, I'll see like the first photo, and there's the first council you're on, and there's you. There's like six
Hmm.
white dudes. And what
Hmm.
was it like back then? Because I think moving forward, it's got to change culturally.
Yeah, definitely.
Hmm.
So Lisa, Don Coken was our CAO.
Hmm.
Janice Tarchuk was our MLA.
Hmm.
I think I've been through 6 or 7 premiers in my 15 years at least.
Hmm.
Um, uh, yeah, Ron Casey was the mayor. Ron Casey was the mayor.
Wow.
And I was given a lot of grace in that first council because I had small kids
Yeah.
and childcare was expensive and I wanted to make an impact. And
Hmm.
so we would have like our council breakfast sometimes and I would bring them along and
Hmm.
I'd pay
Hmm.
their bill on the side, but like they became part of the culture of our monthly breakfast that meeting that we would have
Hmm.
until they finally toddle off to kindergarten.
Yep.
Um, uh, but it was less digital. Social media was not a thing yet. And I
Right.
remember at that time, I kind of campaigned on sort of being more into social media because I didn't see a lot of people on council at that time like me.
Right.
So now I'm sort of rethinking my choices with how much social media that we integrate into, but that's a different story.
Hmm.
Um, John Barrowman was on that council. I'd never met John before I got elected in 2010.
Really?
And now he's a really good friend of mine. We had Gordy Miskow, Sweetheart,
Hmm.
Ed. We had oh gosh, Jim Ridley. Uh, so yeah, some of the like stock of Canmore people have been around for a long.
Yep.
Hans and Helder, and I were I think the newbies really
Mm.
in that council. So yep, it was super interesting and it feels like a blur.
Yep.
It is and it isn't. There's like snapshots in my mind of certain times and occasions that we shared as a community.
Yep.
Some of them positive, some of them not so positive.
Hmm.
But municipal politics is definitely a long game.
Tell me more.
Seniors housing. Anybody that
Okay.
knows me knows that I love housing and
Yep.
transportation. It's my jam.
Hmm.
And in 2012, Ian Wilson became the CAO. He's now the CEO
Hmm.
of Bow Valley Regional Housing, and
Lovely man.
fantastic, great vision, incredibly intelligent, and a fantastic sense of humor. You have to have a sense of humor in seniors housing.
Oh yeah.
Um, so we put together this like 5 point this business plan, and it was kind of
Yeah.
pie in the sky, but we saw the assets we had, and we knew the need that it was existed, and that like there was no place for seniors to move into. And what we did have was tired, was 40 years old.
Right.
So we set about building phase one. And then it took several years, and we got the plans for phase two, got
Hmm.
that built. And then now we're planning phase three. With phase two came such different care because it wasn't only assisted living, it was like higher levels of care in terms of dementia care. So we were getting into the business
Hmm.
or co-mingling in the business of healthcare, which was a different scene. So, but that wouldn't have happened like that. Like it took
No.
time to build capacity and vision and make sure that the product you were building was actually going to fit the need of the community,
Hmm.
and being able to crunch the numbers and see when the economies of scale. And we always knew that when we hit 120 doors, I think was the number,
Hmm.
110 doors, that we would hit an economy of scale where things would start to become revenue neutral. And at our last meeting, it was my final meeting this past week,
Hmm.
we were beginning to see those curves going up, and it's like,
Mm.
there it is. we're
Yeah.
we're meeting that sweet spot. But it took us 12 years, and a dance with the provincial government, a dance with municipal government, and trying to take opportunities that were coming towards us at the right time. So yeah, that's like a perfect example of the long game. It's
Yeah.
15 years in, but we've got housing that other communities are crying for in terms of seniors
Yeah. Well,
care.
anecdotally, like while I was there today, there's a couple like couples that I've met where, maybe like there's one woman I met, like her husband is really in more of like the dementia side of
Mm-hmm.
things, but they're still able to coexist, right? She
Yeah,
just goes down the hallway, comes around. I've met a couple
yeah,
of people during the last like two visits there. Like there's one gentleman, he came from Winnipeg. There's another person that came. They've been here for a while. And everyone talks about how great the facility is, how great the
yeah,
space is. And it's just like a really well run place. And for me to imagine how it was like so far back and to see where you've brought it as one of the
yeah.
pieces to get here, it's really incredible.
And I would not be able to say this if we have the best staff at
They're
BVRH.
amazing.
And
Yeah.
Ian has done an incredible job of fostering a real environment of collaboration, and he's such a leader. And so I'm so happy to see how well that place
Mhm.
is operated and how happy the people, how happy the staff are. It's going to grow.
Yeah. And
It's
so
just going to grow.
like that was one of the shining spots. When you look back on the last couple of terms, was there any sort of stuff you're like, oh, that left a mark or that was a grind or
Well, some of them were a grind, and then
sure.
once they come out the other side, like the first thing we were strapped with
Hmm.
was building elevation. When I first got elected in 2010, was building elevation place and dreaming. It was the multiplex then. And
That was a heavy
that's when
lift.
you got involved. That's
Yep.
when I first met you, Mr. Ma,
Yeah. That was a
Councillor
crazy time.
Ma.
That
At the
was a
time,
crazy
you were
time.
Mr. Ma.
Yep. That was a crazy
Um,
time. Like all the
and I
different
remember,
layers.
like, I had a full file of all the emails of people that was like, "You're going to be able to blow a cannon through that place." And now,
Mm.
like, it vibrates whenever you walk in there. It's fantastic. We have a
Yep.
beautiful library,
Hmm.
climbing gym. It's always busy in the like winter and summer. It's just great. But the beginning was rough.
Hmm.
The end was fantastic. Same thing with the daycare. The beginning was rough. The end was fantastic. We just need more of it.
Yeah.
And we're at the time, and I think still we're like the only community in Alberta that owns their own daycare building. Like we lease it out to the nonprofit, but
Yep.
we actually own the building itself, and it's purpose built. Um, Hawks Bend.
Oh my
Ugh,
gosh. When I think back,
I
like,
still have scabs on my back that are healing from that.
yeah, I remember at one point contemplating being a counselor and just seeing like the discourse and the dialogue during that whole time of when Hawks Bend was trying to
Yeah,
become an idea and the resistance
yeah.
and then and
We
like
did it.
well, you did it and your
Yeah.
council at the
Oh,
time did
wow.
it,
Yeah.
right? And now it is like the shining example of Canmore Community Housing.
Yeah.
It's kind of like the crown jewel, right? When
And the
people
rink next button, like we were able to refresh the rink and refresh that neighborhood.
Mhm.
And a lot of people that were naysayers at the time have come up to me since then and, said, I've made peace with it. It's great.
Yep.
I didn't know it was going to be like this.
Yep.
It's fantastic. And it is, I think, the most desirable Vital Homes unit building that
In the
families
portfolio
have on
right
their
now.
waiting list in the portfolio. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
great. A
Change
lot
is
of people I
hard.
love living there. A lot of
Yeah.
people I love living there.
Mhm. And I meet people
Yeah,
that come up and they're like, you know what? Like, thank you for creating that. I'm talking like the greater we of like
yeah,
CCH and various councils
yeah,
because if that didn't exist, my kids wouldn't be here and I would not be
yeah,
hanging out with my grandkids
yeah.
and down on
No,
the line.
it's
Yeah.
yeah. So Hawks Bend.
Hmm.
Let me see. And then we've had like, the flood. Flood was a real, like,
Oh
it was
yeah.
awful at the time, but the big massive group hug that came out of that was really incredible. And I've like snapshots of my mind of that Canada Day afterwards, and
Mm.
Finally sewing that up and getting that infrastructure complete to keep our community safe was that was a slog.
10 plus
And
years.
hats off to the engineering department,
Yeah.
and Andy Asarte for stick handling that for so very long.
Yep.
But it's not like, exciting. It keeps it safe, and that's
Yeah,
important.
and they're not even the other thing about it is not everybody really sees it. It's kind of like
No,
hidden in the
no,
woods, and some people, yeah,
yeah,
if you hike up Lady Mac, you're, whoa, look at this thing.
yeah. What is this?
But for a lot of
Amazing.
people, it's just this amorphous idea that like took a long time to build. That
Yeah.
it's just crazy.
Transit, it's been a long game. Like I remember when
Yep.
we got our just regional to start,
Hmm.
and there was like a 3 hour gap in the afternoon between like 1 and 3 or noon and 3 because they didn't have the ridership yet. And then
Yeah.
finally we're like, oh, let's fill the gap and then let's extend the hours. And then we got local transit here, and then we got several buses. We extended it out to Three Sisters. Now we're going out to Palliser and up to Grassy Lakes. Like that took a long time. We were the first transit commission to recover from our pre-pandemic ridership in the country.
Hmm.
And our efficiency, when I left at the time I left, I think the efficiency was like financial efficiency, second to the TTC, which is
Wow.
incredible. Like we're like this tiny little transit service, and we're the top 5 thing to do on Travelocity, I'm told. So maybe it's top 10, but like
Yeah.
that's like a long game. And that is due to the vision of 3 great councils, Parks Canada, and then of course the fabulous Martin Bean, right? Like
Hmm.
that guy is a machine, and he
Yeah.
runs a great organization. And I had the pleasure of being on that board for, I don't know, 12 years and chair
Yep.
for 2.
Yeah. It's
So that was a long game. I was going to think, some of our affordability services program that's
mhm,
morphed and changed over time. And I love how that impacts families and individuals.
mhm.
But yeah, there's lots of moments that were super great. Our accessible playground, our
Yep.
accessibility swing.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, I think we do amazing things in this community.
And so,
And
like 4 terms, I can't even wrap my head around that. And when you talk about all the accomplishment coming up, I guess one of the questions I had for you, Joanne, and sometimes people ask me is like, what made it seem like the right time now to be, what, that's 4, that's a lot. Like, was there some sort of trigger moment that was like, you know what, I've done enough in this sort of capacity, this sort of role?
I think I came to the conclusion that I still want to make change, and I love the
Hmm.
municipal arena, and I love the relationships I've made across the country.
Hmm.
But I've seen other colleagues move on, and after long commitment, I think at some point it can get a bit stale for the public and
Yeah.
and
Okay.
for the candidate. And I've seen councillors take a break and come back. John Borman was a perfect example of that.
Mayor Krauser
And
did the same. Yeah.
Mayor Krauser did the same thing. Ron Casey did the same. But it's great when you do it on your own terms as
Yeah.
opposed to the opposite. And I wanted to do it on my own terms. I had decided right after the last election that this would be the last one, and I wanted to be really purposeful in my last 3 years
Hmm.
and make sure I can, continue relationships with people that I've met across the province and the country,
Hmm.
with of my colleagues that I knew were going to run again.
Hmm.
Sew up some things. Like I'm so happy to see the Palliser Trail ASP
Yep.
completed and 100 Palliser on its way. Like that really was like big check.
Yeah.
Like
144
just
units.
because
Let's
I
go.
think people struggled to see what I saw in that
Mhm.
land. I've been
Yeah.
looking and talking about this since 2018, and really was so pleased to capture the imagination of my colleagues and to be able to move forward with that in budget,
Hmm.
because it's going to be a fantastic neighborhood. I can't wait to
Yeah.
see what that neighborhood grows out to be. It's going to be wonderful.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it was time. My
Yeah.
oldest is 20 in January. I'm getting her launched.
Hmm.
My youngest is in high school. I'd like to focus on the last couple of years of that.
Yep.
And I just want to be able to continue to make change only in other arenas
Right.
for the same issues. Again, housing and transportation have always been king to me. And I'm just looking forward to seeing where I can, put me in coach, where I
Yeah.
can
Yeah.
make a
Yeah.
difference elsewhere in other arenas.
Well, I kind of have a
So,
feeling that like those opportunities will be coming up pretty darn quick. And I'm also terrified to see you at the next public hearing. If I get back in, it's like he's got something to say. And yeah,
Popcorn.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is there anything that you're not going to miss? Because sometimes people listen to these podcasts and they
Oh,
contemplate being a counselor, and I just think
what am
hearing
I
from you,
not
like,
gonna
is there
miss?
anything you're not going to miss? Yeah. Like for me, the vitriol of some members of the community, I find that
Yes,
tough for
and I
me.
guess I
Yeah.
try not to focus on that. And I think
Mm.
we're conditioned
Yep.
to not talk about that part.
Hmm.
And especially as a woman, I remember very early on, I received threats, death threats, and otherwise. I remember the second parade we were in when it was with the rabbits.
The rabbits. Oh my God, the
And we
rabbits.
received a death threat, and I was terrified to
Yeah.
like drive through the parade with my kids, and I did it anyways.
Hmm.
Um, I think I think I would say in the halfway through COVID, it became apparent to me that what was happening online, I couldn't
Yeah.
necessarily participate in the same robust way as I had in the past. That there was a lot of non good faith conversations happening, and
Yep.
I've always preferred, as you know, I had the tattoo with the
Hmm.
coffee cup.
Yep.
I've always preferred to go out for coffee with people because I think there's a lot more that can be solved face to face. But um, yeah, I think I won't miss that. I won't miss sort of
Hmm.
some of the entitlement that we hear,
Yep.
the perfection that is expected in certain capacities where we it's not our purview.
Hmm.
I'm not gonna miss uh and there have been times where I felt we had a real partner in Edmonton, but the last couple of years have been really tough to take
Yep.
in terms of how we've tried to work with Edmonton and other purviews. They have been great in some things, particularly fire
Yep.
protection. They have like knocked it out of the park in being a partner that way. But if they want to double tourism
Yeah.
and spend, they need to invest in our community
Hmm.
um, and many of all of the tools that we've asked them for have been turned down, and so that's really disappointing. But you never know, new election, new
Exactly.
faces around the table. Hopefully, refreshed outlook,
Hmm.
and maybe that those relationships can be repaired.
Okay. And so,
From
like,
Yeah,
yeah, like
I
sometimes
love
if
our MLA, by the way.
yeah, she's amazing. But sometimes I feel
Yeah.
like our job description, the sub description, is trying to like shield our community from some of the challenging decisions and policy that comes down from Edmonton.
Yes.
And we're just trying to like do damage control sometimes.
Yes.
And I think there's other communities that would echo that sentiment. Um,
Yes.
so here's an interesting question for you, Joanna. Some of us are running for re-election. You're taking a well-deserved break. What are some of the issues that are really twigging for you that are going to really matter for Canmore over at least the next 4 years?
Um, the biggest one is going to be livability, which
Hmm.
affordability, which can be dialed down to those like top four pressures that
Hmm.
families and individuals feel, and that's housing is number one,
By far.
transportation, the cost of food,
Hmm.
and childcare.
Yep.
Like that's really, you can't go to work unless you have childcare. So those are, I think, the top four definitely, and those are like the things that make your communities go. You need to have those, and so, I think we've done a really good job of trying to make sure that the policy is there to enable, more private childcare spaces to exist in pretty much every neighborhood. I think
Hmm.
in Canmore, but larger daycare facilities would be helpful.
Yep.
Opening up more day homes, having landlords permit day homes in their rentals, all like micro things that people don't realize that really help with the economy.
Hmm.
Transportation, we're realizing, my 19-year-old just spent her life savings on a used car that's was 2009, 10 grand. Owning a car is a rich man's
Yep.
game, and not just in Canmore, anywhere.
Oh yeah. Like wait till she has to pay
So
her insurance.
yeah, oh dude, on her own it would be 5 grand. She took driver's ed. I just
Yeah.
was like, what?
That's a
Um,
subsidized price? It's
that's
like,
crazy.
yeah.
And she's going to BC.
Mhm,
But so enriching our transportation, whether that's on foot, by bike, on transit, making space for all the modes, not
mhm,
just prioritizing one over the other,
mhm,
making public transportation even more and more convenient to take. That will help bring people's cost of living down a bit.
mhm,
In terms of food, that's always been a difficult one for us to touch. I think the good food box that's morphed into something else.
mhm.
The programs that are run through FCSS in terms of there's the food recovery,
Yep,
all
food
those
recovery.
different programs,
Yeah.
are really important. Even right down to the like learning to cook programs through FCSS with the kids.
Mhm.
Like they're just key. And then housing, number one.
Yeah.
And we've tried everything. Like
Oh yeah.
I just saw a modular in Grotto go for nearly $1 million.
Yeah.
We've tried skinny lots, we tried micro units, we tried anything that touches the market is touched by the market, just does not work. And I actually saw like a quote the other day because I feel like the market's designed in Canmore almost to this. And the quote I saw was, I was gonna we're designing unit mixes for the buyers the model attracts. We are designing unit mixes for the buyers the model attracts, not for the housing our community actually needs.
Yep.
And so there's this real disconnect with what's being developed on the market. Like there's seven, you and I live on the same street. There's
Mhm.
seven half side duplexes for sale and have been for sale for a while. And two
They're
and a
probably
half
2
million
million. Yeah.
dollars.
Yeah.
Yeah. You can't do that even on a teacher's salary or a
Yeah.
firefighter salary.
Yeah. It's
So
yeah,
we
like
need to have more housing that we need, not the housing that other people want for us.
absolutely. And so I guess let's tie it back in towards, like we're kind of coming down to our last 10 minutes here of this Zoom
Yeah.
meeting. Um, who are some candidates that have really captured your imagination? Like, well, let's start with some, like, is there any particularly new candidates you're like, hey, like, I think that person has something to offer?
Yeah. So I think Javon, I think I said that earlier. I'm
Hmm.
really pleased to see him put his name forward. I was encouraging him. I actually
Hmm.
reached out to a lot of groups the last
Hmm.
year trying to see if I could find candidates that would be interested in
Hmm.
just understanding more about it. And Javon
Yeah.
was one of those people, and he decided to go through it. And I've been, giving him the odd pep talk and some passed on some knowledge. And so he's, I think, going to be, if the people of Canmore choose him, they are not going to be sorry.
Yeah.
And I think also it's been great to see like Laura. She's done great, even though I think the job is different than what she thought it was going to be. But
She got
like,
outside her comfort
kudos for
zone.
her, man.
Yeah.
She's just stood up at all those forums,
Yeah. It's not easy.
and not easy. And I'm sure learned a lot through the
Hmm.
process about herself and Canmore.
Hmm.
And Jen Moran has done an okay job, a really good job. I love her images and her graphic design.
Hmm.
And I think that the top three that you're going to see really outside of perhaps who's running right now
Hmm.
is going to be Jen Moran, Rob Murray, and Javon. And we'll see what happens with
Right.
the existing mix and
Right.
how that plays out. And I really couldn't tell you who I think is ahead because I haven't been really paying attention.
Which is
I
kind
haven't
of your
been watching.
privilege. Like, take the
I
win.
know.
Yeah.
I haven't. I read some of the articles in the paper, and I watched the video at the Malcolm, the first one.
Hmm.
But outside of that, I've just been
Hmm.
trying to close out it. My digital footprint is massive, apparently,
Yeah.
and I need to delete it and save what I want to save. So,
Right. Yeah.
um,
I think some of the incumbents will be like relatively safe. I think some incumbents, there could be like a little bit of a tighter race. But
yeah,
I think a lot of the incumbents that are on your deck on Hospital Hill are like really great candidates and great people.
everybody's going to be driving up Hospital
Yeah.
Hill.
Yeah. Well, well, I also,
Great. Maybe they'll buy one of those half side duplexes.
well, maybe. But yeah, and, I think also like because I've had more interaction with Javon than say like Laura and Jen Rand. Like I think one of the things that really touches me about Javon is he represents ideas and potential policy and sort of things that are helping a subset of our community that are kind of vulnerable that they actually can't vote. Like we're talking about
Yep.
maybe people that are new here, TFW people, like they've been brought here on work visas. They kind of keep this town running, like all underneath. And so I remember talking to them back then to say, hey, Javon, like I think everything what you're standing for is super cool. I think the crux is because a lot of your demographic is not able to vote. You compel the people that
Hmm.
value those people to like, hey, let's take a closer look at your platform and like maybe I want a more inclusive, broad, stratified community that kind of takes care of people even from like the bottom up. And again,
Well, yeah, I would agree. And even at the lodge, we've said that before. We need to take care of the people that take care of our most vulnerable because
yeah.
they too are vulnerable. And as a community,
Hmm.
we are, and I don't want to use that third time, vulnerable in that way too. If those places and those people are not properly positioned and cared for,
Hmm.
uh, I agree totally. It's a bit of a house of cards, and I don't
Yep.
think people realize how close we are for it to flipping.
Hmm.
Um, and people show up on the weekends
Hmm.
to this like ready built community, right?
Their
There's somebody always there to pour their
services.
coffee and
Exactly. Yeah.
to like run their groceries through, cash their check, process their tax payment, like all of the things, put
Catch
out
them
the
up at the hospital.
fire,
Like,
yeah, patch them at the hospital. But these are not wages that
no.
are supported through the market housing we see through here. And we need every door we can
Yeah.
get to be able to house folks
Yeah. Yeah.
across demographics.
Yeah, I know a lot of the incumbents that are running again. That's a big piece. It's just like, some momentum was made on the housing piece, and we
Hmm.
obviously we stand on the shoulders of giants. We just keep
Hmm.
pushing that forward. And so we've talked a bit about like all that sort of piece. Have you voted already?
I did.
Good job.
Got to got to vote with my kid.
Yeah. Oh,
It's
amazing.
the first time we voted together.
Hmm.
She voted in the federal election, but on her own.
Yep.
I was kind of sad that she never got to vote for her mom, but that's all right.
Oh.
Maybe I'll get to vote for her someday.
Oh
That's
my
my hope.
God. Yeah.
Uh,
I don't know. My kids
a
look at what I
planner
do. They're
once
like,
predicted
ugh.
it. A
Yeah.
planner once predicted that my one of my kids would run.
Unreal.
Anyways, yeah, so I voted already, and it was like I love a camp like elections. I always think that
Hmm.
the Girl Scouts should like camp out in front of the advanced polls and on election day because
Hmm.
they've got a steady stream of people there to buy their stuff.
100%.
But you get to see all of Canmore. You get to see people you hadn't seen in ages. So I love that part
Hmm.
because there's so many great community members that have offered their time up to be able to work the election. And the election, of course, is a lot more onerous this time with
Yep.
the
Hand
hand
counted.
counted ballots,
Yeah.
a lot more onerous and expensive, which I have yet to meet an elected official in this province that thinks it was a great idea, but that's another day.
That's mandated by Edmonton.
Uh, yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I did that. It's done. And now I've got 2, 3 more days left. And
Yeah.
what I didn't realize is that although on Monday the new council is elected,
Hmm.
I am still a
Oh, you still got
counselor,
you still got duties. You
and
still got
I've
access.
got duties because I'm deputy mayor, but I
Exactly.
still have I'm still a counselor until Friday until whoever wins is sworn in. So,
Hmm.
what time is it swearing in? Did they tell you guys?
I think sometime in the early evening. I believe
Oh,
that's
okay,
what
that's
they're
good.
doing. But early
That's
in the
good.
morning is like there's like a mega day for all counselors to get elected. Like first day is orientation day. I think it hits right at 9 a.m. and just like
Oh, they do
crush.
orientation and then now you
Boom.
better eat your Wheaties,
Yep,
man.
right into it. And so are you gonna take a little holiday? Are you getting some time off a little bit before you kind of figure out where you land and do your next steps, Joanna? Or is it kind of like right back
Yeah,
into
I'm
it?
gonna take a bit of time. I have
Good.
some work that's come up that I'm gonna do between there. Some of it fun, some of it not. I
Hmm.
have a honeydew list the length of my arm that I need to take care of. I just found a box in the basement from my mother passing away. She's been gone 20 years, so I still have a few things to clear through from when we moved in 2020.
Hmm.
Yeah, I think I'll take a bit of time and then I'll be back at it in the spring.
Okay.
I'm getting my oldest launched, and yeah, we'll see what comes. I'm just excited to see what happens on Monday. It's
Awesome.
like my Super Bowl election.
Well,
Mm.
Joanna, thank you so much for taking the time to talk on the podcast. I know a lot of people are like, we would love to talk and hear from Joanna. And so thanks for indulging us during this crazy time. And also I just want to say this is probably on behalf of so many people at Canmore. Um, thanks for all that you've done. I think if everyone kind of understood as they walk the streets of this town, or they take part in this amenity, or they hop on a bus, or they open the door and there's their friend that's living there, that you had a hand in a lot of that. Because like 4 terms, that's mega. So thank you so much.
Oh, thank you. Thanks.
All
It's
right.
been an absolute honor of my life.